I feel like I'm missing something. All right, so this one is on art and culture. Little time stamper there. Okay, art and culture. Fuck yes. So fun. I am frankly having a great time. Okay, that image is from the FX TV show Legion, available on Hulu. And it's one of my personal favorites, but we can say that for another time. When one thinks of art and culture and history, what are we thinking of really? We are thinking of society, whom we want to be, how we want to be remembered, and how we want to remember ourselves. For it is a common fault to accept a reality of a past as given. It changes moment to moment, decade to decade. At one time, the American founders were the liberators of mankind from slavery and oppression. Novus Ordo Seclorum, a new order for the ages. But in modern times, one might believe Jefferson's greatest achievement was becoming a slave master and impregnating his servant. Okay, I knew I was going to talk about that for a little bit because that always bothers me. So when you think about what people achieve and who they are, if all you learn is, the worst of their character, then you're sort of an awful person. If that's where your understanding stops, I mean, that's just kind of really sad and petty. Just to try to find a way to say that I'm better than them. I didn't own slaves, when obviously no one owns slaves in 2000. So with Jefferson, that man is the one who is most responsible for forming the entirety of our political process. Doing it from the ground up. I'm not saying the entire American Revolution was him and only him. I'm merely saying, oh my God, so cool. So cool. I'm merely saying that he spent the most time doing the nitty-gritty work of how to elect people, how to create a fair system. He wrote a lot of the Declaration of Independence. And he designed a lot of the things that went into the Constitution, which you can tell because it copied the Virginia model, which Jefferson basically designed the Virginia model. And the U.S. Constitution looked at the Virginia model to form its methods, which became the national Constitution. So in Jefferson's Virginia model, which I find awesome. I mean, Jefferson, without the influence of others, he would have abolished slavery, it wouldn't have worked politically, but he would have, more cave frogs. He would have abolished slavery. I think you can see him. Yeah, he would have abolished slavery. He would have set up a better election system. So his system, he had the House of Representatives, which were voted as they are today by population. And then for the Senate was kind of randomly drafted. And every year, a third of the Senate had to go away. So every year, randomly, 1/3 of the senators and anybody who'd been there for 3 years was kicked out. And so this way, the House of Representatives was popularly elected, which always becomes corrupted. Now, granted, it's effective, but it always becomes corrupted. And the Senate, which had more power than the House, was randomly drafted, meaning that it was free of corruption. That's how you develop a government that's free of corruption, is you have it be random rather than elected. Now, or by lot, as people said at that time, by lot, which was modeled after the Athenians. Now, the problem with having a government that's entirely by lot and free of corruption is that it's entirely ineffective. That's like having a company that's run by just one of the workers every year, and it's just a different random worker each year. It's not going to work. But when you have a company where you elect the CEO, as an example, then it's highly effective. But over time, it has the potential to become corrupted. And so that's how Jefferson fixed it with the second draft of the Virginia Constitution, which I find the most enlightening. The final draft and the first draft were not that interesting, as opposed to the second draft. And he would have abolished slavery, but he knew it wouldn't work politically. Now, Jefferson, when it came to having slavery remain, it's also important to his view of it. And his view of it, even though it was like a compromise or the awful compromise or great compromise perhaps, his view of it was that by rights, 20 years hence, 20 years from 1776 or whatever onward, that blood would be spilt. Blood would be spilt in order for slaves to earn their freedom. And that the men who signed the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, they would be killed in the process. And he said this is the natural and good order of things, which is anytime that men are oppressed, and women, but anytime man is oppressed, the right of that man is to murder the oppressor. With, when it comes to practical in your own think, it's not really the best policy just because you don't want to go around killing people. But, and you don't want to judge yourself as enslaved when you're possibly not as enslaved as other people tell you. And your enemy, in 2001, we were told our enemy was the Muslims of the Middle East. And now in 2020, our enemy are the Chinese, etc. You might not want to go around killing people based on what other people tell you is your enemy. But all the same, Jefferson's opinion was that the tragedy of allowing slavery to be part of the birth of America needed to end within 20 years, and that blood needed to be spilt to end it. And that would be the necessity, for it's impossible to have reform without a violent clash, without conflict. For the established powers will never surrender power willingly. And so also Jefferson said, similarly with established powers, that the sons are not bound to the commitments of the fathers. That if your parent signs the U.S. Constitution and is bound by it, you are not. And so you as the children, the generation of children, if y'all can mobilize yourselves together to abrupt it, which I don't recommend, then you have that right. You have that right. And every 20 years, he suggested a great upheaval should occur. And practically speaking, that's not going to go. It's not a good idea. You don't need to have a great revolution. For example, Bitcoin is revolutionary to the US currency system, as mentioned in a previous video about technology. But Bitcoin is not violent. It is simply an improved system. And similarly, I propose my own improved system on government, which is Bitcoin 1776. But it is not. It's not anarchical. It includes obeying the laws as they're written, and simply trying to offer two choices for people so that they have a choice of something better. Okay, more about art and culture. I love that little bit about history. I love history. I could talk about it forever. Okay, moving on. In art and culture, I'm sweating like a mad. I'm sweating like a buffalo. In art and culture, we celebrate and share that which we can give freely. One cannot labor freely for everyone. One cannot give freely of money to everyone. But one can virtually give freely the joy of a new song, the teachings of a great work, or the pleasure of a vibrant image. While we cannot, as those respecting work and contribution, become full-on socialists in all aspects of existence, we can teach and share freely cultural works with little cost of replication, and those which grow in value and expand with use and adoption as opposed to diminishing returns. Not everyone can become solely focused on finance or society would crumble, but we can all share in the Big Short, the way to wealth, 0 to 1, anti-fragile, and other mediums of education for little cost. So in that, when I say we all cannot become finance people, we can't, there's no sense in trying to train everyone to do your job for no reason whatsoever. as more people do your job, then you lose your work and your importance. But you can train everyone on how to live a good life. You can train everyone and teach everyone the important aspects of history which can benefit them and others. These are the things that, as a socialist or as one who cares for humanity, one should try to do this as freely as possible. And this is what motivated me to do this. But you got to get paid for your work too. So don't do it without any attempt at recompense. And so much as one recognizes this, art and culture is the most perfect form of socialism, as it can be freely distributed without removal or pain from the giver. And through art, one can teach and give others the chance to obtain or achieve other desires. For example, money, understanding, and happiness. For one cannot infinitely give or redistribute all wealth for millennia and expect an everlasting joy to spread like rainwater over a hot tin roof. But instead it fades and sinks ever so gently into such a natural state of existence. Self-sacrificing of money and of time is a commonly lauded attribute. But instead, I would encourage those who truly want to improve society to develop and share better artworks, that which engages the listener and costs little to the sender. And so much as one does this, they are an inventor. They create everlasting achievements. For example, I would challenge anyone who sought to read and understand Franklin's autobiography to not receive thousands and thousands of dollars of value for the mere cost of $5. But this requires commitment from the asker or beggar, a shared sacrifice. They must give some time and effort to receive. And are things not best this way? Mutual benefit and reward, even if disproportional? For a mere $5, one can receive a lifetime of happiness and fulfillment. Yet at the same time, the maker of the works receives merely one day's lunch. But more obviously, we all know that the more who benefit from said work, the more the individual maker benefits as well. Tim Ferriss wrote a book, The 4-Hour Workweek, which is a useful amalgamation of business concepts compressed into inspiring stories. I would challenge anyone to claim his teachings did not benefit his readers tenfold more than him. Yet in concerto with his audience, his personal fame and stardom was capitulated by his achievement. In short, his benefit was directly proportional to the extent he benefited others equally. Okay, great. That was fun. So that was a 4-Hour Workweek. Great book. And the concept is there, like, yeah, you pay $10 to get a copy of the 4-hour or whatever, to get a copy of the 4-Hour Workweek, but your benefits are going to be so much more than that. Same with Benjamin Franklin's autobiography. Now, the problem here is there are some things that people buy and whatever that don't have any real benefit or whatever, lasting benefit. Some things are just for pleasure, and that's totally fine. But some things are incredibly rewarding, and those things I hope to illuminate with you, because a lot of people don't read Benjamin Franklin's autobiography, and I think that's just an amazingly rewarding book and illustrative of the times that the Founding Fathers went through. One of the best well-written books, too, because Jefferson is wonderful. He's very long-winded. Franklin is, he's short and curt and humorous, and you have to read in between the lines to understand what he writes, because everything's a witticism. He doesn't believe in he doesn't believe in being overly instructive. Instead, he poses a riddle that you have to decipher if you want to understand what he's talking about. And most of his riddles are quite complicated. People don't understand that they're riddles because they're not used to that in today's world. But anyways, so yeah, I think spreading culture and these good books is just very, very beneficial. Oh my gosh, I am having such a good time. This rock face, just tremendously huge. So So, and another thing I talked about there is like, so you pay the $5 and then you get the thousands of dollars of benefit if you apply their works, but it's a shared sacrifice. So you get rewarded by learning, but that's obviously a requirement and something that you have to apply yourself. It's not just given. They just don't give you thousands of dollars. They give you tools to earn thousands of dollars. And sometimes it's fake and phony, but sometimes they're actually quite well pieced together. And these are 0 to 1. It's one of those that's just insane. Now, some are more practical. 4 Hour Work Week is more practical. Benjamin Franklin's autobiography is more practical. But 0 to 1 Anti-Fragile for money managers and VC, venture capitalists, and entrepreneurs are just both, now they're opposite books. 0 to 1 is all about concentrating energy, and Anti-Fragile is all about positioning yourself so that nothing can touch you or hurt you. But anyways, so that's some of the things. Oh, and Benjamin Franklin's way to wealth goes without saying, don't you think? Okay. Oh, but then also they get rewarded. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep up their contributions. So Ferris, he did the 4 Hour Work Week, and this kind of catapulted him to stardom. And then he went on to do the 4 Hour Body and some other books too. And these books are useful. And had he not got rewarded for his first book, he might have not done all the others. And then society would be much worse off. So, with that said, if you like what you heard, if you feel this is useful, you can contribute the $5, $10, whatever, Patreon, Bitcoin, etc. I'll have the links, and just check that in the descriptions, etc. Or join up with Bitcoin 1776, my social project for creating societal wealth. And I appreciate it. All right. So that is all I have about what I'll say about Legion. Legion, just phenomenal. Best TV show in existence. Noah Hawley. Now it's modeled after Twin Peaks. So for the younger audience, and me included, I didn't watch Twin Peaks when it was out. I rewatched it now. I think it's on Netflix. It's such a bizarre TV series, but a lot of references to Twin Peaks within Legion, which is a Marvel superhero movie, TV show. But just Noah Hawley, Fargo. He makes both Fargo and Legion. Legion is just 3 seasons, ends beautifully. The colors, the artistry, the music. It's very musical. It's basically like a cross between Twin Peaks and The Wall by Pink Floyd. So you can imagine those two just being the most far out, trippy amalgamation of artistry. Okay, I'm getting so far out here. I'm starting to get a little tired. So we've only been walking an hour and a half. We're doing good, people. Just rock after rock. Tiring, lost. Oh crap. Okay. I was thinking like, no, where do I have to go up? But I'll find out where I'm supposed to go up, because it just naturally goes up. And then I'll be okay. Oh gosh. I knew that this would be a long walk. I knew it'd be a long walk. Oh my gosh. So yesterday when I did this, I was at the top of this and I didn't know to come down. And so I just walked along the edge of the top of the rock face. And maybe I'm coming back up now. Maybe so. It does seem like I'm creeping up. But I really have no idea, because I know that it juts out. I know that it juts out. And so when it jets out, that's where I will know that we're halfway. So this is, if I didn't say it before, this is called South Clear near Obed, Middle Tennessee near Crossville. Okay. Thank you people for sticking with me. And moving on. Tax, peoples. Tax. I'm gonna go ahead and start charging the phone up just in case it's weak on charges. Hey, it's me. I probably should do that every now and again so that people know who's doing this thing. Hopefully I got my chargers. Yes, here it is. So, I was prepared. Sorry about the change in volumes. It doesn't work. Okay, perfect. It doesn't work to have a headphone and a camera running at the same time. Okay, look at that. Okay, let's see if this thing starts charging. Okay, hopefully the video continues and hopefully the phone is also charging at the same time. I'll just assume it is, and then we'll get going. Okay, whatever. I gotta just assume that's happening right now. Otherwise the video will just die. Okay, so tax, finance. I'm a CPA, certified public accountant. I didn't mention that earlier very much, I don't think. I'm also a guitar instructor.